might be worth competing.
sPidA here, the Fight Card Podcast, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. My guest, Freddy Sandoval, my man. Where are you at, bro?
I'm down in Albuquerque, New Mexico right now, at home.
No, and of course, you recently competed for Bellator MMA, man, and I got to bring that up for a lot of reasons. One of them being that you actually been away from the fight game for a while.
Yeah, I've been out for 13 years.
And what was it that made you decide to go ahead and take the fight, man? Was it just an opportunity, or?
Well, I've done some interviews and stuff once we got back on the scene a couple years ago. The end goal was to get into Bellator or Combate. For me, obviously UFC is probably out of my reach. Just being older and being gone. So, and that's fine, no big deal. But I needed to get back in there, and that was my goal. So when the phone rang in 10 days, I'm like, well, yeah, of course I have to take that. I'm from the streets. I'm from the old school. Granted, I'm only 36, 37. I come from the old school where, you take fights, whatever fights are given to you. You don't cry about weight. You don't cry about, rank, nothing like that. Somebody wants to fight, let's fight. I never turned down a fight before, and I wasn't going to start now, especially an opportunity so huge.
No,
it's all an experience for me. At the end of the day, it's all an experience.
No, and I gotta say, because you just, I was gonna ask you how old you were. I looked it up, but the fact that you have the proper Gladiator Challenge kind of says a lot, man. Back in the day.
We competed in Gladiator Challenge back then, King of the Cage, a few local promotions, Rage in the Cage. So I was around when all those older promotions were. Those were the big dogs back in the day,
Right.
Aside from UFC, but King of the Cage champions were going to UFC back then. So, again, you look at some of those fights. Some of them were at light heavyweight and even heavyweight that I took. And I was only a middleweight fighting those different fights, because to me it's just about fighting, the passion of competing, in hand-to-hand combat with somebody else.
No, definitely, man, because, it's like they say, once a fighter, always a fighter. Whether it's in the ring or it's outside, when it comes to setting goals, for example, one of them, you are a certified personal trainer, right?
Yes, that's what I've been doing for the past few years now.
And now, was that one of your set goals for after fighting?
I kind of just found my way into it years ago. I started taking up personal fitness for myself as a way to combat, PTSD, depression, anxiety, a lot of stuff that I've gone through in life. So instead of taking medications and seeing counselors and psychs and all that, fitness was my prescription, and I seen how it helped me change my life and turn my life around, and how much better I felt. So I figured, well, I can start helping other people feel better, get them off prescriptions. Even people that have diabetes, I've helped them get off insulin, and a wide variety of other things. And it kind of found its way into my lap. So. Was it a goal? Probably not. I was intending to open up a barbershop instead. But the personal training thing it fell into my lap, with what I was doing at the time. And, I love helping people feel better about themselves, and seeing people when they lose 20, 30 pounds, 60 pounds even, the smile on their face, the joy, that they get from being able to look in the mirror and feel comfortable, feel happy.
No, yeah, and that's one of the things I always keep saying, even on this podcast, and I've even told my kids, what the opposite of depression is expression. So whether it's dancing, singing, fitness, martial arts, it's a good outlet. A lot of times when it comes to pills and medication, I'm not a big fan of that myself. So just something so simple as walking 30 minutes a day can cure a lot, man. And people don't think.
That's all it is. It's that simple. And people have the misconception that they need to go do these crazy, hard, intense workouts for hours at a time, when really it's just small, simple things that are realistic,
Right. Or even changing your eating habits too, man. That's got a lot to do with, we're all stuck in living a fast life, so, caught on fast food, but.
And the sad thing there is they can dedicate a couple hours to sit on the couch and watch TV, right? But they can't dedicate 2 hours to go cook and meal prep for the week, which would save them hundreds of dollars, literally hundreds of dollars each week by setting aside 2 to 3 hours every Sunday to meal prep your own meals for the week. And you don't have to do all 3 meals. You can start off with one meal and make your own overnight oats and a couple snacks for the week. You know what I mean? You don't have to start off going crazy. You don't have to be a chef. There's so many free resources online that give you recipes and break everything down for you. It's just putting the energy into doing it is what I found is the wall in front of a lot of people.
No, for sure, man. And I mean, of course, excuses. You know, we all got them. I mean, I have. You know, I work hard all day and I go home and I'm tired. But yeah, it's true, man. Because I started doing that myself when it comes to breakfast. Like I'll usually I'll make it in the evening, and then that way the next morning, if I wake up late, it's there. Warm it up and let's go, man.
And how much more convenient it is for you.
Oh yeah. Now I gotta find a way to. Now I gotta find someone to wash the dishes afterwards, man. But other than that, no. But let me ask you, bro, because of course, I mean, being a competitor, I mean, you also compete. You have that hat for the Texas Cash Wrestling Coalition. You are the middleweight title holder for the promotion, correct?
Yes.
Now, when it comes before that one, you hadn't done anything in a while either, man. So why? I mean, you were still obviously grappling and training. So was that a good opportunity as well for you to get out there?
So actually, I haven't really been into grappling. I wrestled in high school and was like a street fighter when I got into mixed martial arts. Obviously, back then, you know, in 2005, 2006, you know, you had basic submissions, triangle, armbar, Kimura, you know, rear naked. Those are the basic. You didn't have this intense, crazy game that they have now, and it's evolved. So I just learned the defense of those moves and the basic familiarity with them to apply them in fights. But me, it was just more about wrestling, that old school Tito Ortiz, Randy Couture type fight. That's you know, how I used to like to fight. When I decided a couple years ago I was going to try and fight again, I realized I have to get into jiu-jitsu. And that's where I found Dark Haven Studios, 10th Planet Albuquerque, to learn the in-depth detail of these submissions and how the game works now and how it's evolved. Because there's no way I would hold up in a regular fight or in any competition with just what I had. It just wouldn't work. You know, right. Athleticism only gets you so far. So I started learning that, started all over from the bare basics. Was supposed to fight a couple times. COVID canceled all those. And then I actually got to compete my first time last year here in New Mexico for a different title for the UFP Gas and Oil promotion, which actually Bubba was the guest referee for that event, and that's how we actually touched base and met each other. So because of my performance there and taking out a purple belt, myself only being a white belt, I got invited to his show to compete for the title. So that was my third match, was with TCW. So I do have two different titles for two different promotions, and then another. I competed twice in between then, just some smaller local matches, just to get the feel of things again and get out there. Because you can grapple in a gym all day with your partners, but when you get onto the stage, you know, it's like we kind of revert back to that security, what we know. And I'm trying to open my game up to where I don't do that anymore, where I'm free-flowing like as if I was in the gym. Let this guy take my back, you know. Let's see what he can do from there. Let's see how my defense holds up under pressure type thing. So that's what I'm working at right now.
No, yeah, and I mean, a few of the things that you mentioned, man, because even the platform, I mean, like you were saying for the one in New Mexico also, the fact that you have to kind of get used to that, you know, the whole walking out, the whole music, the whole, you know, that's something that when you did that again, did it take you a while to kind of like, okay, you know, gather yourself together, like once you got in the platform?
Yeah, it kind of did, you know. The size of the crowd does make a big difference. You know, these grappling events I've done, I've been in front of a few hundred people. When I walked to Bellator and I was behind the curtains and I looked and I was like, holy like, and the guy I interviewed with local right before that, Micah, he was like, you know, how does it feel knowing that you're going into an arena? You're not going into a venue, you know, that you're used to, you know, fighting in convention centers and bars and clubs. It's an arena. And I had never thought of it that way, you know. My mind was on the fight itself. So that kind of hit me in the stomach. I was like, holy shit, he's right. It's going to be huge. So when I actually walked out there, like, you know, the events that I've competed for, even Bubba was back there telling us, you know, at the show before, make this memorable. You know, come out, dance, enjoy yourself, get the crowd, win them over before you even step in that ring. So kind of doing that and getting that experience, it kind of shaved off a little bit of the nerves for it. I mean, there's nothing that's going to take away in front of thousands of people and all those lights and stuff. But, you know, it helps. It helps.
No, definitely, man. And that's one of the things, you know, even like Dana White in the UFC, he has said before, you know, it's different when you go to a regional promotion and then you go to the UFC, for example, and you're like, crap, you know, it's like thousands of people and then it's being streamed everywhere. So, of course, that's more people.
Yeah, they're right there in the cage putting the camera in your face. You're like, holy shit, you know?
Now, let me ask you, man, before, I mean, you said you used to street fight. I mean, was your intention back then to actually start like competing in mixed martial arts, or did it just fall in your lap too?
No, well, you know, it wasn't so bad back in the days, as I'm sure where you're from, it's the same. You know, back then you could get in a little fight at the bar, at the club, at a house party. You know, it's a one-on-one. Then you guys have your pillows, it's done, and you have a beer and you go about your night. Oh, yeah. Then it started getting violent. You know, people started jumping in. People started kicking you while you were down on their homie, hitting you with bottles. You know, pulling guns, knives, and it just got to be too much out of my control and my liking for that. You know, started getting too wild out here, and I ran across a kid from high school after we had got into a big dirty brawl by the fairgrounds. It's actually the parking lot my gym is in now. We got into a big fight with a big gang over there one night. And, you know, knives, and people were hitting each other with cars. And I've told this story a couple of times, so it's kind of crazy, you know, but it's factual stuff that happened in my life. And after that, I was like, this is crazy. One of us is going to end up dead. We're going to end up really, really hurt, you know, paralyzed for the rest of our lives. Or somebody else is going to end up dead, and we're going to end up in prison for it. And ran across a kid from high school, and he's like, hey, man, I'm learning jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, what the hell is jiu-jitsu? You know, and he ran us down, and I was like, okay. He's like, but the cool thing is my coach can get you into fights in King of the Cage. So we were already watching Carlos Condit and Diego and stuff, the local guys here, you know, fighting on the local scenes back in the day before UFC and WEC. And so I was like, cool. And he's like, yeah, you'll get paid and you won't get in trouble. And I was like, what? So I was like, cool. And it's just one-on-one. He's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. So sign me up. So that's how it started, man. Went into the gym and started learning that stuff. Got a couple fights and just took off from there. Stayed away from the streets as much as I could after that, you know.
No, definitely, man. And one of the things, like you mentioned, I mean, even King of the Cage, when I was watching that stuff, I mean, of course, it was through VHS tapes, right? I mean, it wasn't like, it wasn't, you had to actually wait for somebody to get a copy and then be like, hey, let's go watch. But yeah, I mean, Diego was one of them. I mean, of course, all these guys from out there. So I always wonder, because I'm in Texas. So, King of the Cage being in California, I always wondered, like, man, I mean, how is it that these guys are able to get out there? I mean, of course, you know, driving, but I mean, it was just such a big deal back then because, you know, everything was done by the fighters, man. You didn't have sponsors like you do now. You don't have, you know what I mean, like as far as people supporting you like the way they do now. But I guess back then, that's kind of what maybe you meant that. You know, people actually had to go out there to do something, and you know, But I mean, looking back now, I mean, is there anything that you kind of look back and figure like, man, I wish I would have done something differently, or?
You know, I mean, I wish I would have incorporated a lot more striking and paid attention to it a lot better, and you know, maybe got myself with some better coaches in it at the time. I never felt confident in my striking. You know, if you watch all my fights, like, as I got more into more fights, I would, you know, stand on my feet a little bit longer and stuff like that. But it always was takedown. Even in Bellator, after 13 years, like, I felt comfortable. I was like, okay, I'm going to stand up here. I didn't have no cardio, obviously. We knew that 10 days. I had hurt my knee out in Corpus Christi 2 weeks before when I won the belt. So I have a slight MCL issue I'm dealing with in the left knee. So, you know, I didn't really train prior to the Bellator match because I had just came off of the Texas match. So I felt comfortable moving around in the cage with him. The first few shots, I landed some good shots on him, and you know, I actually felt comfortable finally, but instinct took over, to want to shoot. And that's where I caught that first knee in the chest, because I was like, I see a shot, my body just automatically, after doing it so many years, shoot. So that would have been the only thing, is to kind of pressure that more and open myself up instead of just focusing on the ground and pound so much, and just going through the motions of boxing and kickboxing back then. Actually take more time, I should have done some local kickboxing and boxing matches, like smokers. I should have done that back then. That's what I would. And that's what I tell my amateurs now. Like, you guys aren't just going to get in the cage and fight. You're going to compete in Naga. Anytime there's a local grappling event, you're going to compete in it. Anytime there's boxing, smokers, kickboxing, my guys are going to be there. I don't care if they're wrestling guys, if they're boxing guys, they're going to compete in everything. So that way they're comfortable once they get in the cage in every setting, and that's what I love about TCW, man, is you get in there. It's not just jiu-jitsu. It's not just Naga, ruled jiu-jitsu. You can wrestle. They encourage you, to shove that forearm in the face, to frame, to slam people. They encourage that, and I love the cage, because as you see, I used it to my advantage in that match where my opponent didn't have that experience, so I was able to take his hips away from him. So I want my guys to know, there's a lot more out there than just what you grew up on or what we're teaching you, this one-sided this or one-sided that. There's so many different areas of it. And anytime we can get on these events, our guys are going to be there grinding it out, just because the way that the show's set up, the way they take care of us and the athletes and the rule set, it's almost like there kind of is no rules, minus like the fish hooking and shit like that. But it gives you a chance to get in there and really, really grind it out and not be safe.
No, definitely, man. Let me ask you this. Back in the day, did you ever compete inside a boxing ring when it came to MMA?
Never.
Okay,
never.
If that was the difference, I mean, having a cage, of course, you do like you said, you can trap your opponent, take him down. But in the ring, of course, I mean, back in the Vale Tudo and Pride,
Pride.
And whatnot. But yeah, man. But other than that, bro, I mean, obviously you have your own business. I mean, you do your own personal training. The gym itself, the Sandoval Fighting, is that? I mean, obviously that's yours. But where do you guys train out of?
So we're here out of Albuquerque. Also, we're up by the state fairgrounds. It's just a small gym. It started out as a fitness gym. Actually, it started out as my own personal playground to get ready for a fight when COVID hit, because everything shut down. So we needed a little space to keep training just in case the fight went through. We didn't know anything back then that they were going to close everything down. So it took them a month after COVID hit and shut things down to shut that down. So we just found us a little room to train in. We only had some mats and I think 2 dumbbells and a kettlebell in there. And we've moved up. We have 3 rooms now in an office with a 20-foot cage, probably a good 24 by 18 feet worth of mat, several bags, a small weight room, a small cardio room. We're actually looking to grow right now into a bigger building and incorporate a powerlifting gym inside on the other half and a hot yoga studio. So, that's where we're at. And it's actually, the gym itself is called the Fit Facility. And then Sandoval Fighting System is based out of that.
Right.
And then we have our grappling school, which is our brother gym about 5 minutes down the road from us. And that's obviously Dark Haven Studios, which is 10th Planet Albuquerque. They house that over there. Again, because I'm not going to keep my guys one-sided.
No, definitely not. I mean, and that's another thing too, because you have the experience when it comes to, I mean, as far as mixed martial arts. I mean, you learn a lot of like behind the scenes, like when it came to promotions and management.
Yeah, I've been dealing with all of that for myself, guys that I used to train and do that for back in the day. After doing Bellator, now I see why the big guys have managers, though, and why they have to pay that percentage out of their purse, because it's a lot of shit to do, man. I told my guys, I'm like, when you guys go pro and y'all make it big, man, you're going to have to pay me for this, because it's a lot of work, man.
Definitely.
So shout out to my guy, Mike Chu. He's from Texas also. He's got a fitness gym out there, and he gets a lot of guys in different promotions and a fight team. He's the one that lined this stuff up for Bellator for me. And, he was the one that took care of all that hard paperwork and all the emailing and stuff like that. I just had to sign on the dotted line and send it back, and he took care of the rest. So, I'm grateful for him and thankful for him. And again, now I see why people pay that kind of money.
No, yeah, and that's one of the things too, because I've talked to managers when it comes to business, and a lot of them say, yeah, because the way they make the contract is for people not to understand them. So the fighters just sign it, knowing that they get locked in or pay less or whatever. So definitely, if you don't have somebody, a manager, get your coach or somebody that can help you go through it. I can only imagine that.
Somebody's got to read between those lines.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Now, let me ask you, when this is all said and done, man, what can you see yourself doing? Of course, running the gym, running your, but, are you looking at other outside the box?
No, not right now. I'm going to get a few more fights in the next couple of years. I'll keep competing in grappling as long as my body allows me. And, just lead the team, lead the fighters, continue personal training, try and grow the gym a little bit more. I'm not trying to be one of the big chain gyms. I like to keep it private and personal.
Right.
That way those people have a comfort zone that they can go to and they don't feel uncomfortable. And that's it, man. And, just see myself older, owning a gym, kind of just setting things up, oiling the wheels so they kind of turn themselves as I get older and I can enjoy my family more, because right now I'm doing a lot of the grinding, so I don't get that much time at home and with the family, and it sucks. But you have to put your dues in somewhere sometime, and at least I'm enjoying what I do, and I'm able to bring my kids with me from time to time. So that's been a huge thing, doing this and staying on my own path instead of working for somebody else and helping somebody else create their dream. But yeah, just to get my own big gym going and hopefully leave it to the kids and they run it from there on, and just keep passing it down and doing the same thing, keeping our name a hold, and being a household name in the fight market for years to come.
No, definitely, man. And let me ask you, we kind of talked about this earlier. The next Texas Catch Wrestling Coalition is happening at the Hooverville here in Texas. Mm-hmm. You might or might not compete on there yet, right, as of right now?
Yeah, as of right now, I'm not matched up. So we're waiting to see what happens with that. If I get a matchup, I'll be there, be ready. If not, I got no problem. I'll wait till the next one. Maybe somebody else shows some good interest in the event that might be worth competing against. If they want to try and get the belts.
Run it.
If not, we can go out there and have fun, and we'll see what happens.
No,
I do plan on competing again.
No, and if you do compete for this one coming up for here in Texas, man, are you going to bring some of your students out here?
Yeah, I've already talked to a couple of my guys and a couple of the females from our gym, that I'd like to take a couple of them out there because the experience was so awesome. You go to some shows and some promotions and they think that they're already big name and they don't have to deal with you and they don't talk to you directly and stuff like that. And it's like, well, we're the reason you're here. And, Bubba and TCW, man, nothing but respect. They cater to the athletes first and foremost. So it's awesome. And yeah, I hope to get a couple of my guys out there with me so they can go have fun in there too. Cause they all saw it and they're like, man, we get to do this and that. And I'm like, yeah, get out there and have fun, let loose.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. It's a good experience, man. Good outlet. As far as the Bellator, bro, was that a one-fight deal, or are you going back to the promotion?
So I didn't get a contract or anything for it. I spoke with them afterwards, and considering the situation and stuff I was put in, and what I discussed with Mike about it, we're going to kind of do this the way it should have been done. Get a couple local fights, smaller venues, just to get the rust out and have proper training and stuff like that, and then probably go down a weight class because the big leagues, the weight classes are a lot different, and so take a step down in weight, get comfortable there, get a couple fights, and then try to get back in there by next summer.
Oh, sweet, man. As far as right now, because you are in New Mexico, man, I know I tried to message you earlier. I'm here in Texas, but is there a time frame, the difference?
Right now it's 12:30 here.
Okay, that's 135 over here, man.
Yeah, okay, that's how I missed it.
Because I've been to New Mexico, and I guess because we drove through it, I didn't really think about the time difference. But I do apologize about that earlier.
No worries. I wasn't paying attention to the time neither, and I go to El Paso a lot, and I don't even know if the time changes there or not. Half the time, I don't think it does. So, you know, I'm like, well, cool, it's still the same.
They're talking about doing the getting rid of the daylight savings time. I said, man, they should just make the 5 p.m. for all around, dude. That way, no matter where you're, it's 5 p.m., bro.
Yeah, Arizona does it.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, there you go, man. And let me ask you, bro, anything else you want to add before you wrap this up, my man?
I appreciate you for doing what you do, man. It's awesome. Thanks to people like yourself doing what you do and getting on with the fighters and stuff, small and big. You help also get us out there, so I've seen a bunch of your interviews that you've done recently and stuff since I was put on with TCW, and it's just awesome hearing you dig in and get stories from people, because a lot of people don't know our backgrounds or our stories, you know, and you're not just asking the normal questions, you know, you kind of get into the background and stuff, regardless of what it is, and I think that's cool, man, so I appreciate that and what you do, and keep doing good work, and just thanks to all my teammates at Sandoval Fighting System and Dark Haven, my coaches and my family for all their support, and just everybody watching, keep tuned. You know, the Sandoval Fighting System is going to be back out there doing a lot of big things, not just local, but we'll be all over the country in the year to come.
Yeah, looking forward to that, my man. And let me ask you, bro, and I do appreciate your kind words, because I did go through your Facebook page, man. If you had a dream car, what would it be?
My dream car?
Yes, sir.
It's going to be Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds, the GT500. Yeah,
I saw that, man. So I have to ask, bro. My brother used to have a Supernova back in the day, man, and unfortunately got stolen, man, and he didn't recover after that. But he had it souped up, and man, that was a beauty, man, definitely.
Yeah, I got me a 2007 now just to settle the beans right now, because I don't have that kind of money to get me that car right now. But I'll have it soon.
No, I believe you, my man. Well, I do appreciate this, man. Don't hang up yet. Everybody out there, in spite of the Fight Car Podcast. Until next time, follow up.